What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Feeling Blue podcast, the newest New York Giants podcast, right here with your co hosts now officially. We've been doing podcast episodes together for the last couple of weeks, but got your boy CP in the house, myself, the one and only, and then you got Mr. Aaron here from the TMS pod. What up, Aaron? How are you doing today? Thank you for joining me on the live.
I'm feeling good. I'm a little concerned with certain people that we cut, but other than that, I'm doing all right.
Oh, we're going to get right into that. We're going to get right into that. Before we get into that, though, I just want to say the usual plugs. Drop a like, drop a comment. If you're watching this in the live chat, make sure you drop a comment. We'll prop your comment up, like just like we do on the Interstate Mets Report, like I do with Nelson. And yeah, I appreciate the support. Make sure you're subscribing to the channels. Follow me on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, bottom right corner. Also, subscribe to Aaron's YouTube, his personal. He has his boys. They do a lot of New England sports content, but obviously he's here joining me now on the Feeling Blue podcast at That's My Sports on YouTube. The link is in my description if you're watching on my YouTube. He's also streaming it to his YouTube on that at That's My Sports, and follow him on X as well at It's Castman 74. You can see that right there. Always tweeting, always supporting. Also a Mets fan if you happen to be a weirdo like us, Mets and Giants. But yeah, I just wanted to tell him a little bit about it because this is our first live stream that we're doing for the New York Giants. And we're going to be doing more of these. Like, this is going to be a common thing throughout the season. We wanted to stand this up before the season started. And I'm actually really excited that we got to, have all these graphics. And only thing that we're missing now is a logo. We got our logo up there, but we need a Feeling Blue podcast logo up there. So I'm really excited to venture into this. For people who don't know you, who haven't seen you, who haven't maybe watched the episodes that we have up yet, that we've done the last couple of weeks, tell them a little bit about what you do on That's My Sports, and then just tell them what we're going to be doing on this podcast, man.
So for That's My Sports, there's three of us. One's Hollywood Ray. He's actually in Boston. That's where he lives. I live in Connecticut, and we have my boy Shay who lives in the ATL. So we're all over the East Coast right now. We pretty much just talk about anything, any type of sports. We're trying to venture out into other things. I got Hollywood Ray to like MMA. So listen to our last episode. He was talking about a lot. We're trying to do some wrestling stuff as well. So we just venture off into different things. Also, too, if you know anybody who's an entrepreneur who or is in the music industry, we also done some interviews with that. Our best interview actually came from this girl, Sharice Jones. Shout out to the DMV. She is our most downloaded episode, and in the top 5, we actually have professional basketball player now, associate coach for the Yale basketball team, Brandon Sherrod. So we're just all over the place
Nice.
trying to make a name for ourselves.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, this is great. I'm excited to be doing more Giants content with you in the future. I know we've done 3 episodes already. Like I said, I'm gonna prop those up here as well. I'll put the link in the description as well, so people
Now,
can go ahead
has
and do that.
Eli
But
always been your quarterback? Like, because I started off when I started watching him was like Kerry Collins transitioning to Kurt Warner. So have you had Eli as your first quarterback ever when you started watching the Giants?
yes, I did. It was
Dang,
only Eli.
lucky.
Yep, yep. Because I don't know if I ever got into how I became a Giants fan, but I'll save that for a future episode. But I didn't start watching the Giants until about '05. So yeah, always been with Eli. But hey, man, this is some good stuff that we're doing here. We got a couple topics for everybody today. Like I said, the main goal of this is just to prop it up. Obviously gonna be talking about the Giants roster cuts today. Some notable cuts, like you said. We're gonna be talking a little bit about the Carlos Basham, Boogie Basham trade as well from the Bills that we saw going on today as well, which is very exciting. I posted a short on my YouTube channel as well. Go check that out. Just a lot of, I guess, a nice little comp there. I think Dable said we're going to get into it, but he's going to be with the outside linebacking group. So we'll see what happens there. And let's get into it, man. I'm excited. So we got the roster cuts um, going on today. And if you haven't, this is not the most updated list. I made this, a couple hours back. And I think before we got on here, we had you break the news to me that I guess Cole Beasley is no longer with the Giants. He got waived as well, which was a very surprising move. So a lot a lot of roster cuts today. Obviously, today is going to be, I think the 3 p.m. deadline was today to cut the roster down to 53, the 53 man. Um, I'm going to ask you about your notable cuts here. I have a couple of my own as well, but just starting off with you, Aaron, what who stands out first and foremost to you on this list?
The Italian stud, Tommy DeVito.
Really?
It's like in golf. Look what they did to my boy. Uh, I think that was a little crazy. The one I'm excited about is David Sills. So that way Jalen High can get number 13. People, I guess someone put, I don't know if it was Pat Leonard or Garofalo, they were putting that fan favorite David Sills. If you're a Giants fan, he was not your favorite. Like let's not say things we don't mean, which is that's my sports slogan. My dark horse though, Jamison Crowder though. I really thought he was going to be on the kick return, punt return, but I guess they trust Eric Ray, even though he looks skittish in all 3 preseason games, being in the special teams. So that was a little surprising. Um, and I guess Tyree Phillips. I mean, if it was up to me, all the backup all linemen would be gone because they were just straight cheeks, straight awful for us. And that's the only ones I can think of right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Jamison Crowder one, the Cole Beasley one, first and foremost. I think Jamison Crowder had a very viable shot at making it just because of the special teams play, the returning duties. Like you said, Eric Gray did not look good at all in his returning, you know, doing the returning duties in the preseason. He looked very shaky to say the least. That's something that the Giants have struggled with for a little bit now. And it's something that I just don't know outside of obviously the general suspect positions of the interior O line, et cetera. I think the returning duties and how that's going to play out is one of the ones that really is kind of irking me the most. So I really hope that Eric Gray could get coached up a little bit because he just looks really raw back there, especially when he's returning the punts. Um, Kickoff returns is another whole nother ball game, but usually nowadays in football, those go for touchbacks anyways. So not really going to get too much work there, I would foresee. But the punts, we really can't have any errors, especially in tight ball games with the punts. So that's going to be a position to definitely monitor. You said Jamison Crowder, like you said, you're surprised. I know that he was your dark horse to return punts, maybe return the kicks. For me, it was Khalil Pimpleton, who also got waived earlier today. Colin Johnson, I think, is going to be a stud wherever he goes. It's unfortunate. I know it didn't work out. He had an untimely an untimely injury this preseason as well. But I like what I see out of Colin Johnson. So it wasn't a surprise to me, but it was a guy that I know can contribute at the NFL level and wherever he goes next because I don't think he's going to clear the waivers. I think someone's going to scoop him up. Um, that was the guy that I was definitely watching. And I guess obviously Tommy DeVito. The Tommy DeVito discussion is a really interesting one because let's be honest, he did outperform Tyrod Taylor in the preseason. We all know that, like if non-biasly, like that's a fact.
And you were texting me
But
that too during the game.
yeah, and it's a fact. He looked more comfortable. Even you said Tyrod Taylor gets a little bit of those happy feet when he's back there. But I understand why they did cut Tommy DeVito because it's not really feasible to go in the season with 3 quarterbacks. And two, it's like, are you really going to take a sample size of 3 preseason games over an established vet like Tyrod Taylor? Now, I don't know. I liked what I saw out of Tommy DeVito, obviously quarterback coming out of Syracuse. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he does clear waivers. I don't know if he will. If I had to guess, my just raw take on it is that he probably does. Maybe can sign back to the Giants practice squad, but I don't know. I think that whoever does sign him, wherever he ends up going, I think they're going to get a stud. And obviously he had a couple of moments in the preseason where I guess his arm was a little bit stronger than needed to be, than need be because he overthrew some guys and he looks like he has a powerful arm. He knows how to move out of the pocket pretty well. So he really impressed me with his skill set this preseason. So, but I'm not shocked that he ended up being cut. But like you said, the Italian Stallion, it's just one of those things. If you say anybody's a fan favorite, Tommy DeVito was probably the fan favorite. We got Habakkuk Baldonado here as well. Had his flashes in the preseason. Right underneath him was Timon Fox.
O'Shane
I think they had
Jimenez.
Yes, I was just going to say when we're talking about these linebacking guys, O'Shane, and we'll talk about O'Shane too, just briefly as it pertains to the Boogie Basham trade, because it was just so, I think, funny how that lined up where they traded for Boogie Basham, and then not only a couple hours later we see the O'Shane Jimenez notification. So yeah, this is really, I want to highlight Jashawn Corbin. I think Jashawn Corbin impressed a lot of people, but the running back group, no matter if he outplayed Eric Gray or not, and a lot of people think, I've listened to a lot of, either Giants content creators, a lot of Giants, beat reporters on X. Like I've listened to the opinions on Jashawn Corbin. He's a guy that also has a bright future ahead of him in this league. And it's just unfortunate. It's the luck of the draw. It's not a good look um to have him over over Eric Gray on the depth chart. Obviously, Eric Gray being drafted in round 5 of this year's draft, you can't let go of a 5th round pick. It's just not feasible. So just Sean Corbin also unfortunately landing on this Giants roster cuts list here. But yeah, and then like I said, there was one preseason game where I noticed Jack Anderson, and he's right here on the right hand side of your screen. And obviously, when we talk about O-line depth, it's always tough letting guys go, but he didn't really do much else outside of that Detroit Lions preseason game. I think he was an obvious cut as well. So, and then yeah, this is an extensive list, and it's so funny. Like I like to listen to other sports content creators, like from different fan bases, whether it's YouTube or on X, and see how that team's list ended up shaking out. But like I said, Cole Beasley is not on here. I was really expecting Cole Beasley to make the team. Really expecting to make the team.
So it looks like, yeah, he's getting cut, but he's somehow gonna be on the man roster, 50-man roster. I think it's Mike Garafolo was talking about that, which is kind of weird. So why are you gonna cut him if he's just gonna stay on? But also, Darian Beaver is not at practice today, or Lawrence Cager or Tommy Sweeney. That's a little interesting.
Well,
That's a little development right there.
Well, Darian Beavers, the situation just got a whole lot different when you talk about the guys who the Giants just traded for in the past week. But I want to shout out my guy, Hit Squad Productions, saying what's up to us in the live stream, watching the live chat. I know Hit Squad was a fan of Collins as well. Unfortunate, I agree. I think he's talking about Colin Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but if not, then certainly correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, shout out to you, man. I appreciate you checking out the live. We're gonna be doing more lives. Appreciate you subscribing. Giants Nation. This is no better feeling than the start of football season. I love watching the content creation that is coming out of everybody's channels. Belt Guy as well is another guy that I'm always tuning into. He does his live streams Wednesday nights, so I'll definitely be in tune tomorrow night. Just supporting each other. So it definitely means a lot to me as we talk about this. And then oh yeah, okay, I see he's on. He said I was talking about DeVito playing better than Tyrod Taylor in the preseason.
It's
I
facts,
know,
though.
it's like yeah, it is facts, and it's like I see a lot of different narratives that come out, like especially when Daniel Jones, before last season, and Tyrod Taylor kind of joined the picture, and everyone's talking about Tyrod potentially starting over Daniel Jones. Like we all saw how that played out. Like I think Tyrod Taylor is capable. Obviously, he's shown that he's an established vet, and that's why I understand why DeVito's gone. But let's be honest and call it like it is. DeVito showed why he belongs on an NFL roster this preseason. So, much love, man. Seriously, I appreciate the shout. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be doing more of this, and if you ever want to hop up on here with us and talk some Giants football, you're more than welcome to. I like being inclusive, and we certainly are welcoming that. So, we got a question here from our man Hit Squad as well. What happens now with Tyree Phillips being cut? Matt Parrish really our only option. And I really, on the previous episodes that we've done in the preseason, especially this past one against the Jets, and we'll get a little bit into the Jets performance in the Jets Giants game in the preseason. I don't like what I've seen out of Matt Peart whatsoever. We talk about a couple of guys, and this applies to O'Shane Ximines as well, a guy that really was expected to take that turnaround in his career and take that next step forward. Matt Peart has not done that. What is your, I guess, analysis of what Hit Squad is asking right here?
Well, I just looked at it right now. We have 3 offensive tackles. 3. And 2 of them are starters, and Matt Peart is the backup. So pretty much what it's saying is that Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal cannot get hurt at all this season because Matt Peart, I actually thought he was going to be good. He came out of UConn, big dude. He wasn't bad at the pass blocking. I don't know what's going on. He just all of a sudden just dipped like hardcore. And I'm looking at the rest of the O line. So we kept Bredesen, Glowski, obviously, Josh Azuda. How is Shane Lemieux? How is Shane Lemieux still on the squad?
I don't know
I
how
don't
he found his
understand
way
that.
back on
And
the squad.
obviously Marcus McKeithen. And then for center, it's just John Michael Schmitz, and then Ben Bredesen's gonna be backing up. So really no one at center. If you think about it. So maybe Tyree Phillips goes on the practice squad just because I think he was hurt right with his knee. I think
I'm
that's the
not
only
sure
reason
if
why
he
they
had anything
cut
like
him.
that, but that was a surprising cut to me. That was very surprising,
There's
especially when we
always
talk about Matt
surprising
Peart and his
cuts.
performance. Yes, Matt Peart really is the only other option at tackle. If Lord forbid Andrew Thomas goes down or Evan Neal, we got Matt Peart to back up. So Hit Squad, to answer your question, it's atrocious, absolutely atrocious. Oh yeah, this is another thing. We're gonna get into some other Giants news before, but this is a little fun fact. Deonte Banks actually changed his number. He went
Really?
from 36 to 25. Yeah, I was gonna mention that
Hmm.
too before we started here. I completely forgot, it's on my mind. And then Isaiah Simmons, I guess, is gonna wear 19. To be honest, I've gotten so used to Deonte Banks wearing 36, but I like 25. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think 25 would look pretty sharp. 25 go live. I don't know, man.
It's better than 24, Corey Webster's number.
Oh Jesus. The better question is, how do you feel about Banks and Trey Hawkins being rookies starting on the outside?
Again, Wink Martindale knows what he's doing. We said this last episode. If he trusts these 2 guys to play cornerback, I have full support Wink Martindale. He's been top 5 in defense. We have not had a top 5 defense in, I'm gonna say the 90s. And if you guys say, oh, the '07, no, our '07 Super Bowl team, we were ranked 20th. And I believe in the 2011 Super Bowl, 12, however you want to say it, we think we were like 15th. So we haven't really had a top 5 defense in a long time. So I trust Wink 100%, especially what he's done with the Ravens.
I was gonna say, and not only that, you got 2 rookies starting on the outside. We don't have to see if that holds up. Presumably, we can start to shift Adoree potentially to that slot cornerback position, and we don't have to see Darnay Holmes anymore.
How is he still
Presumably.
on the squad? That's I don't understand.
Because
But
he took a pay cut, apparently, to stay with the Giants because I
uh
guess nobody else probably wanted him, and he knows that. So, um, at least he took less money, but I would like to see him off the roster because he really someone put yesterday I saw an X scrolling through, someone put a highlight reel of Darnay Holmes almost blowing the game. I forgot what game it was. It was like all season long, but I think it was obviously that Commanders game. And then there's one other game that he wanted to sell the game so badly. I think it was the Titans game opening week that he
yes,
had a couple of crazy pass interference calls that almost cost the Giants. Obviously, the Titans ended up missing that field goal, the game winner, but that was just bad. You can't have that in close
he
games like
was doing a
Sunday.
lot last year too, and also I don't know if you saw Aaron Robinson on the pup, which is not
Yes.
surprising, but I'm surprised he
Yeah.
hasn't gotten cut. He has not stayed healthy. Granted, he's had some pretty life changing injuries, but still, I'm just surprised he's still on the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because he's another guy that was like, he could probably make a serious impact on this team if he's healthy, but he's always been on the pup. We haven't seen much of him. So, we got your boy. He said, cut Danny Dimes
Hollywood
next.
Ray,
Ray,
Jesus.
what up, Hollywood Ray? What up, Ray Sean? Appreciate you coming into the comments. Um, if y'all watching this, you don't know Hollywood Ray is a co-host, one of 3 on That's My Sports. That's My Sports podcast. So make sure you're checking them out. Like I said, link in the description. Subscribe to their channel. I'm gonna steal one of their co-hosts for the Giants or conjoined Giants podcast here for the foreseeable future into the season. So
he's just saying about Danny Dimes because his favorite guy Bailey Zappi got cut by the Patriots.
I did see that. I did see that. I'm curious. I thought Zappy honestly showed a lot last year, to be honest, to at least land him a QB2 role. I don't know who their QB2 is now on the roster, but
I believe
obviously
Malik
Mac.
Cunningham, rookie from
Oh,
Louisville.
okay.
I think this could be a speculation. Bill O'Brien likes those running quarterbacks, so
Yeah,
he's
that
probably gonna
makes
use
sense.
something like that. But
That makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna be
oh,
tuning into you guys' stuff with the Patriots because I'm not as in tune with them. But
you don't want to. There's nothing good over there. Don't worry about it.
hey, we got a matchup. We got to get Hollywood Ray up on here when the Giants and Patriots match up this season. That's going to be a
Just be
good one.
aware. If you've listened to past episodes, he goes on rants. All right. It could be about the Celtics or the Patriots. I will say this about That's My Sports. We have great Hollywood Ray rants. So just check out any episode between the Celtics season and Patriots. But what'd you think about the Sauce Gardner saying that little clip for the Hard Knocks that he pretty much welcomed Jalen Hyatt to the big leagues? If Tyrod didn't
See, that's the thing.
underthrow him, that's a catch for a touchdown.
Well, that's the thing that I don't care about I really don't care about the Jets. Everything that they're doing this season is for Hard Knocks. Like just talking out of their asses, to be honest with you, for the camera. It's actually egregious. You can't tell me that he's in that cornerback room with his buddies and the cornerback coach is like, watching him get burned by Jalen Hyatt, albeit Terod didn't make the throw. He threw it, to the sidelines. It was a tough throw, but you got to make a better throw there. You can't tell me that the cornerback coach for the Jets is not looking at Sauce and like, this can't happen again. Like, come on, everybody knows this. Like there's something about sports is that you can't fool the general public. You just can't fool them. So he's making a bigger, ass out of himself than he realizes. But whatever. I mean, I'm not really concerned about what's happening across side of town, to be honest with you. I saw that he was running his mouth for Hard Knocks and whatnot. It was clear Jalen hired a little stutter at the top of the route and then completely burned him off the sideline. And had Tyrod Taylor put a nice throw on that ball, I mean, you can see Jalen Hyatt probably go up for 6 the sideline because Sauce Gardner's not catching Jalen Hyatt. I'm
Absolutely
sorry.
not.
And I'll give Sauce Gardner all the credit in the world. Very talented player, bursting onto the scene last year. But it is what it is. You can't fool people. You know what I mean? You just can't fool people. Let's move on here. That was the Giants roster cuts, just touching on that briefly. We got a trade that went down earlier this morning. I did a short little video on my YouTube channel. Check that out. This was an interesting trade. Giants acquiring Carlos, aka Boogie Basham, defensive end / I guess outside linebacker, from the Buffalo Bills. We know that Joe Shane Buffalo Bills connection. And he was a former late second round pick in 2021, went number 61 overall to the Buffalo Bills out of Wake Forest University. And he's a very versatile player. And guess what? Joe Shane does it again. He does it again. Because what was the Giants' compensation given up for this talent, this second round talent just 2 years ago? It was a late round pick swap in 2025. Not even 2024, 2025. What do you make of this trade? Have you gotten a chance to, I guess, read up a little bit on Boogie Basham, or what do you think of this trade? I guess at the surface level.
So pretty much from what I can tell, just by his stats alone, a little bit of video, he is a younger version of Jahad Ward. So again,
That's
another Wink
understandable.
Martindale guy. And Joe Shane playing chess, man. The fact that you got a second rounder and you're giving away a 2025 pick for him is insane. I mean, I love the depth of the edge rush. We really needed it badly. Obviously, I think it was the first episode we did. I said Jadeveon, maybe, or bring back Eight Fingers JPP. So I guess Joe Shane didn't listen to us because he went for the youth instead, which is pretty smart. So I love it. I think he's going to be great with the linebacking edge rush we desperately need. So great pick. And And since he's second round, he doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, exactly. Um, and not only that is that the Giants have control over his contract past just this year too. So that's not the case with Isaiah Simmons, though. Isaiah Simmons isn't a contract year. I want to make that clear distinction. We'll talk about Isaiah Simmons in this next graphic after we talk about Carlos Boogie Basham. Fun fact, I guess he got the name Boogie. I forgot who he got it from. And I should have wrote Basham Jr. because he is a junior. But yeah, I guess he likes to dance. A little fun fact about Carlos Boogie Basham. He likes to dance, and he got the nickname. So I always find it interesting. ESPN had Boogie Basham instead of Carlos Basham. I feel like ESPN always goes for the proper legal names, but they had Boogie Basham. So that was an interesting fun fact as well. But yeah, I mean, you can see it on the screen here. Last year in 2022, 11 pressures, 5 QB hits, 3 QB knockdowns. He only played in Buffalo. I think there was an account on there on X that said it. I want to give him a shout out, but I completely forgot the ad. I always forget these ads of these accounts because I have so much content just scrolling through my X account. I forget all these ads, but I'll circle around and give a shout out maybe the next live that we do. But he only played in Buffalo's I think 39% of Buffalo's defensive snaps last year. So he wasn't a highly utilized type guy. I think he was playing behind, I forgot his Espenza, AJ Espenza, I think is his name for Buffalo. Forgive me if I'm saying
Oh
that wrong,
yeah,
but
because I think we were looking at him too at one point.
we were looking at him too. I forgot where he went to college, but yeah, he was basically playing behind him, and the Buffalo Bills weren't going to be able to retain both of them and at least not give them equal playing time. So I guess they picked one of the two, according to Buffalo Bills Twitter. I was browsing their perspective on the trade as well. So, like I said, just the value. So, like the main thing is here is the value. You're getting a second round talent. Another team thought that he was a second round talent, obviously drafted him in the second round, and you're giving up a late round, not even a straight up pick, a pick swap. The Giants don't even lose a pick with this trade, if I'm not mistaken. So that is just insane value, not only from this trade, but the Isaiah Simmons trade as well, giving up a seventh rounder for a former first round top 10 pick. I mean, the miracles that he's working in that front office and the calls that he's making, like, it's legendary. It's nothing short of legendary. Um, but like you said, we can't really say what Carlos Basham is going to provide for the Giants just yet. All we know is that he's a versatile guy, can be slotted behind Leonard Williams at that defensive end position, maybe as the second guy in the depth chart. Or, like I said, I think Art Stapleton was reporting that straight from Brian Dable, like right away, as soon as Carlos Basham gets to the Giants facility, he's going to be working with the outside linebacking group. So, but all of a sudden, you see this edge rush position for the Giants become stronger and stronger to go along with the likes of Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari. Obviously, the inside linebacking group is going to be a little bit more of a question mark. I don't know. I don't foresee Isaiah Simmons. I mean, maybe he'll be slotted into the inside linebacking position alongside Bobby Okereke, but I don't know. Do you have like any opinions on how the linebacking group should play out?
Oh man, I mean, after Okereke, it's like, what do you got? Apparently, but from what I kept saying too is that Isaiah Simmons wanted to play more safety corner, but because like it was weird. Shout out to Deontay Adams. He put it up that he played DN, corner, and slot, safety, linebacker. So I'm not sure what Wink Martindale wants to do with him. So I feel like he's just like a big question mark for the linebackers. But other than that, besides Okereke, Ojulari, he got hurt last year. Can he stay healthy? Because if he stays healthy, he's a beast. Really don't trust Beavers or Mika McFadden, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. I just hope that, again, no one gets hurt.
Well, I mean, ideally, you're going to have two inside linebackers out there, anyways. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how Wink plays it.
It's
Like
going
you
to be
said,
McFadden,
Beavers was,
though. Like,
yeah,
he's going to be him with Okereke, unfortunately.
You don't think Carter Coughlin has a chance?
I like him. I liked him when he came out of
Like,
Minnesota, but I feel like he's a special teams guy, which is
yeah,
sad.
yeah. I don't think he's being utilized to his full capabilities, because he's one guy that we didn't mention so far. We mentioned him in our other preseason episodes, but he's a guy that's definitely impressed me this preseason. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, just an overall like value trade. And that's what Joe Shane has been prioritizing so far in his GMing tenure, is just absolute value. And I can't say that enough. Obviously, like I was pointing to the fact that we haven't seen enough sample size out of Basham in his 2 years in the league so far. He's only got 4.5 career sacks so far to go along with 1 interception. We'll see how the Giants utilize him. Everyone around the league is taking notice of these value trades the Giants are making, because they trust in Wink Martindale. Like you said, they trust him to maximize the effort level and the full potential of these guys who really haven't reached that on their previous respective teams. And like you said with Isaiah Simmons, and you're saying Dante was saying, the reason why the Giants ended up trading him is because the Cardinals were playing him to what the Giants believe was out of position. He was playing safety for them when he really, like, I guess he can, because he's such a speedy guy, and he's not. I mean, he's a big guy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's fast enough to play that safety position. I think he's more best suited to be an edge rusher in Wink Martindale's system, and he was playing out of position in Arizona. That's why they brought him over. And I guess the Cardinals really just weren't pleased with how he was looking. He had a rough preseason go at it for the Arizona Cardinals, and they're just like, hey, we got to cut losses where losses are happening, and they decided to send him over. So interested to see these new guys, Boogie Basham and Isaiah Simmons, joining the linebacking groups for the New York Football Giants. Moving on here a little bit, we're going to be talking a little bit about just the rest of the Giants. Just the feel for the Giants moving into Week 1, that showdown on Sunday night, Week 1 against Dallas. Before we wrap this little live stream up, not going to go too long today, but we will be back. With more episodes, more lives, quicker than you can imagine. So, a couple other news topics we got into it a little bit. Giants activated wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson off the pup. Obviously, talk about a little bit about what you saw with Isaiah Simmons in that Jets preseason game. Obviously, he had a really nice pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I think it was 2 pressures on Aaron Rodgers, if I'm not mistaken. But
I think
he
so too, yeah.
got to the outside and forced Aaron Rodgers to scramble right. And I think the play ended up just being dead. I think Aaron Rodgers just threw it out of bounds. That explosiveness that we saw at Isaiah Simmons in the preseason game against the Jets has gotten fans, obviously like ourselves, really riled up. And then obviously Joe Shane doing magical things here with the Giants front office. Aaron, what's your mentality like? Like, what's the mentality? Obviously, we saw the preseason. We know the depth of the offensive line is a question mark. We know that we are going to have 2 rookie cornerbacks starting on the outside. How are you feeling about the Giants going into the season? Are you optimistic? Are you holding your breath a little bit? Or what's the vibes like?
Well, if you asked me 2 years ago when Joe Judge was here, I would have said, nah, I'm done. But I feel like with Brian Dable, Joe Shane, they're actually bringing in their guys. They're wiping almost the slate clean from the worst GM ever. I hate saying his name, so I'm not going to say it. And it's just refreshing that we're making all these moves. We're going to have some good cap space next year. The fact that Saquon's back, even though I wasn't sure if he was going to be back, but it seems like the culture is that good where he's like, you know what? I'm going to put my teammates first over myself. Very selfish, non-selfish thing that he did. And I'm looking at it right here. Wan'Dale is pretty much going to be the 6th guy. So it looks like it's Slayton, Hyatt, Hodgins, Shep, Harris, and then Wan'Dale. So that's a pretty good 6 for receivers. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Definitely excited for Jalen Hyatt Week 1 just because I always put it up, but I can run routes now. Or what's my skill set? So I really hope he burns the Cowboys scout coach and just does great things this year. I still just can't believe Darnay Holmes is on the team, but it is what it is. But definitely optimistic. I still think 11-6. I still think we're going to go 11-6, like I said in the first episode. I don't think anything's changed for me, unless something's changed for you.
No, I mean, I had 10-7, so I'm sticking with 10-7. I want to see like I said, I think Banks and Hawkins have definitely shown enough that what they can do, obviously in training camp and the preseason. But let's be honest and call it what it is at face value. They are two rookies. It's very unknown how over the course of a season, over 16 games, their performance will be. So I think the Giants have done a great job, especially from a front office perspective, to not just keep working the phones. Like even when training camps, or preseason is just about to be wrapping up, they're working the phones and getting the necessary depth. And these depth pieces could very well start at some point, whether there's injuries or not. Like, I think that's one thing that people are forgetting is that these are depth pieces right now, but these two guys that we just, we're seeing on our screens here, we just saw Basham and now we're seeing Simmons here on the screen. They have all the potential in the world to be, starters on the team. And it's just absolutely unreal. I'm very optimistic. I think 10-7 gets us into the playoffs. I want to see growth from the Giants from last season. I think there's going to be growth. I think this roster is 10 times more talented than the roster that we put out last year. I think I am confident. I believe that 100%. This roster is 10 times more talented than what we put out last year. And that's a testament to Joe Shane and what he's been able to do in year 2. He worked miracles in year 1, don't get me wrong, but he's worked all the more miracles in year 2. So I appreciate that out of him. Isaiah Simmons, I don't think people are talking about Isaiah Simmons enough. I don't think they're talking about him enough because not only was he a former 8th overall pick out of Clemson, he is in a contract year. He's in a contract year. He's going to want to get paid. Trust me, he's going to want to get paid. I don't know if that's motivation enough. I don't know if he had. What would you say?
He's got the stats to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I can do this, and he's a Swiss Army knife, so he's definitely going to get paid.
Exactly. And I mean, I just don't know. I think people aren't talking about him enough. Wandale is going to be explosive. We all know that. I saw videos of him running some routes, cuts, looks explosive. I'm really surprised. I know we talked about it. I'm really surprised that the Giants are only keeping 6, presumably, right now. Maybe they keep Cole Beasley on the practice squad, maybe carry a 7th at some point in the season. I don't know. I don't really know why they would do that, though, because he doesn't really provide anything on the special teams unit. So that wouldn't really make too much sense. I think really, like I said, outside of the depth at the O-line, I think the special teams is going to be something that I'm really kind of iffy on, especially when we have Eric Gray returning kicks and punts. But that's something that can be worked with. He's a rookie. I mean, I get it. We're not, and the Giants really are in this weird phase of their franchise right now because we're coming off of a season where we made the playoffs, won a playoff game after being down bad for years under he shall who not be named, or Mr. DG, I will call him. But are the Giants really in win now mode? Because I don't think they're really in win now mode. And I don't think they're going to be in win now mode until probably next season, either the year after that, with the way that the Eagles are looking, to be honest with you. So I'm looking at progression year in and year out. Do I think the Giants can make an improbable run at a Super Bowl before that? Listen, there was a point in the season last year before we got, a smackdown against the Eagles where I was like, who knows? Crazier things have happened. Maybe the Giants could make a play or a Super Bowl run. Obviously, it didn't end up happening, but what do you think? Are the Giants really in contention win now mode this season with the, I guess, question mark still at various position groups? Or do you think that anything short of maybe an NFC championship game is a failure? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that they're Super Bowl contenders right now. I think they're just like you said, building up the depth pieces, getting their ducks in a row. Obviously, everyone's favorite quote: "Rome wasn't built in a day." But I feel like we're on a faster track than what we're supposed to be. Because I mean, I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs last year. and we made it. And I didn't think we were going to beat the Vikings in the playoff game just because of their explosive offense, and we beat them. So I think now that we have better pieces, especially with Isaiah Simmons and Deontay Banks. We signed Sexy Dexy. Obviously, we have Daniel Jones as our quarterback. And again, in the first episode, I apologize because I was definitely not on the Daniel Jones train. I'll admit that. But I feel like maybe in the next two, maybe 3 years, we're gonna be up there with the Eagles. So I have no problem with what we're doing right now. It's a better version of trust the process than the Philadelphia 76ers because we're drafting the right players to help out this team.
I agree. And you talk about like the draft, not only like you talking about these trade pieces that we're getting in, but the draft itself as well. They are starting a 6th-round cornerback out of Old Dominion University. Do you know how crazy that sounds? But we believe because Trey Hawkins is that talented. That like if they end up legitimately hitting on a guy like Trey Hawkins in the 6th round, a guy like Jordan Riley, who we haven't even talked about in this live stream, that was drafted obviously in the 7th round. Who knows how Eric Gray shakes out in the 5th round? Like we're talking about a generational draft class to go along with a steal in the 3rd round, Jalen Hyatt, Deontay Banks, who's also going to be starting. Obviously, he was the a 1st-round pick, and then John Michael Schmitz, 2nd round. I mean, like through and through, I can't even name you one guy that I wasn't impressed with this preseason. Even Javarius Owens, safety, I was impressed with. Unfortunately, he got hurt in the Jets game with I think a hamstring injury, but I was in on him too. He balled out too. And so it's just like this draft class is something that it has the potential to be so special when we look at this team in 2 to 3 years' time. Like you said, when the Giants really are going to be ultimately competing for, in contention, I should say, because a lot of people are putting, or a lot of Giants fans, I think, still have unrealistic expectations for this season. Like, I'm not going into the season expecting us to make a Super Bowl run.
Exactly, and you can't do that.
You can't. I mean, it's not feasible. In year 2 of this regime, it's not feasible. It's an icing on the cake type thing if it happens, but I'm not expecting it.
And it seems like
I'm just not one of those fans.
Sorry, it seems like with the last 2 draft classes and stuff like that, I'm not gonna say we are, but we're turning into the Pete Carroll Seahawks. They're getting gems. They've got Richard Sherman was a 5th, 6th rounder. I think KJ Wright was a 2nd, or maybe it was a 1st. I don't know. But they were getting unknown gems. Cam Chancellor wasn't a 1st rounder. I'm not saying we are them, but it seems like we're going in that direction. And I hope that Brandon Brown, horrible assistant GM, he just stays with the Giants. That's how bad he is.
Yeah. No, he can't find a job anywhere else. I mean, he's just been a terrible job so far. So, yeah, man, this is, and that was complete sarcasm, obviously, but I love how that's turned into a thing on Giants X, I should say.
I know.
Everyone had a comment. Any sort of Brandon Brown tweet I see giving him props, everybody in the comments is like, no, he can't go anywhere. Just horrible job. Nobody's gonna want him. And it's just like that guy is a pure genius. Everybody knows that. But anyways, this is it. This is all we had. This is a little short, little 45-minute live. I appreciate it. I wanted to introduce the channel to the newest Giants podcast / live stream / anything you want to think of relating to the New York Giants, we're going to be doing. It is the Feeling Blue New York Giants podcast. And I got to change that guest Aaron to co-host Aaron because you are now my co-host officially. So yeah, this has been us, man. Aaron, any last words before we get out of here for today? Obviously, we're going to be coming back here. We got to figure out, go back to the drawing board, see what happens here in the next coming days with some Giants news. But we're going to be putting out content consistently on both of our platforms. Like I said, subscribe to @That'sMySports. Any last words here before we get off this live stream?
Yep. So pretty much the captains for this year, obviously Daniel, Saquon, Andrew Thomas, Darren Waller. Darren Waller is a captain this year. Sexy Dexy, Leonard Williams, Bobby Okereke, newly captain right there. I feel like a little Antonio Pierce role. X, obviously Xavier McKinney. Adoree was a little weird, but it is what it is. And obviously Graham Gano. And also, I saw that you have 105 or 108 now subscribers. So keep subscribing to CPNY Sports. I will keep saying on That's My Sports and my regular channel. Obviously appreciate just coming together. Because as much as I like, talking Celtics, Patriots, and other things on That's My Sports, it feels good to have some New York going on. And also, too, we follow anybody that follows us, whether it's the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, doesn't matter. We follow anybody. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast. Like you said, yeah, the channel's up to 108 subscribers. I definitely appreciate that. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on X and Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube bottom right hand corner if you're watching this live. It should be there. But make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button to my channel, my accounts, obviously outside of YouTube. Make sure you do the same for Aaron and That's My Sports as well. Go hit the description of this video. It's going to be there. Make sure you subscribe to them. Not only doing New York sports, doing New England sports, some Atlanta mixed in there as well with their co-hosts. So they're doing a phenomenal job over there. As always, drop a like, comment your thoughts and opinions on anything you heard today. Subscribe to both of our channels, please. And like I said, this has been the Feeling Blue New York Giants podcast. This is our first live stream / episode / whatever you want to call it under the new name, and we're going to be coming out with a logo here soon. This nice, beautiful, big logo that you'll see on your screen and all of our episodes, live streams, etc. Going to be live streaming games. We need to be live streaming games as well. Shout out Talking Mets with Rob. He created a Dallas Cowboys YouTube page as well. Make sure you go check him out. I'll actually link that in the description as well. Just because I like not only doing New York Giants content, obviously that's what everyone here's watching for, but just doing NFC East as a whole. I think it's actually fun to loop in other content creators for other teams, especially division rivals, and do some stuff with them as well. So I know he's expressed some interest. Obviously, we're on the Mets Roundtable podcast together. He's a Mets fan, but somehow, some way, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan as well. And I'm
That's
going to be
so
having
weird.
him
I
on
don't
as
get
well.
it.
Hey, I got to ask him for that story too. But yeah, this has been the Feeling Blue New York Giants podcast. Your co-host here, not guest. He's not a guest. That will be changing in the background as well. Co-host Aaron and Chris, your boy CP. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, week 1 is fastly approaching. It's your boys. We are out. See you all later.